Hi, Trude. It's wonderful to see you. I'm so pleased that we're getting together to be able to speak on this wonderful topic today.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Yeah, lovely to see you too.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, as we went through the process of working together, it became very clear to me that you have a very important gift and ability and cause in the world. And I thought it was important and a great opportunity to talk about that, just to raise awareness and to be able to really open up these areas for people to really understand and benefit from. So, so with that said, let us dive in. I think one of the most interesting pieces that came through when as we were working together on the program is your understanding of love. Now, I'm going to hand this over to you, of course, but I'm just going to put a little bit of context around it. That love is, it's a word that is used in so many different ways. However, it is so linked with the truth of who we are, the truth of how the world works, and really understanding that, I think, is crucial to our happiness and purpose. And that has been something I think that you have always known about and been able to see really since you were little, I think.
Yeah. My first memories are all sort of very loving. um, either either the love of nature, where I used to pick flowers in my really young days, and also, talking to my grandmother. She was like very religious and tried to teach us about, all these really loving stories from the Bible. And I don't come from a religious family, but she told us all about these incidences that are all really all about love. And I really felt I understood it. To me, it was obvious, and it was like, um, um, I think it just made me very aware of that wonderful togetherness, that wonderful feeling of safety, of everything just being in order.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that. I think this is actually a really interesting piece here because I think a part of your ability even from a very early age to understand these what seemingly are very complex, concepts, but actually to be able to understand that through the stories in the Bible and the way that your grandmother was sharing them and speaking them to you, you were seeing through into what they really stood for and what they mean and the importance of that in the world. And that is a high sensory ability right there.
Yes, and I think this is where all my frustrations ever have come from. Whenever I feel that there's an obstruction there, people don't understand it because it's easy. That is what is easy about the world. And people are trying to complicate it so much. It's like, especially when it comes to religion in my, in the western coast of Norway, it's very Puritan. You're not really allowed to do anything. Everything is immoral, and if you don't do it the right way, then you're going to hell. And that did not make sense.
Right.
So these wonderful biblical stories just didn't make sense at all when they were translated into humans.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's the beginning, I think. And so I just left religion altogether at the age of 12, probably. But ever since, I think we're at the core that it is the love I've always understood, and anything that comes in the way just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, wow, that's fantastic the way you've explained that. And I think for anyone watching this that feels called to want to work with you as a coach, it's really helpful to really feel into what you're saying here because it makes so much possible for us when we understand this area. What I mean by that is you're absolutely right in the way that religion is set, or the way that we have particular frameworks that we are told we have to sit within. We're actually losing, especially in this case, if love is being put to one side and the true meaning of love is put to one side, we're actually putting to side one of the greatest parts of life, one of the greatest parts of ourselves, that true joyful expression within us. And if we're repressing that, and if we feel that we're stuck within the constraints of religion, we are limiting our potential, our happiness, and our ability to love at the deepest level.
Yeah, yes, which is so sad. And basically, I mean, it just makes a lot of problems for us. Because if you understand that bit, if you can feel, true love towards everybody and everything, which is a very childlike thing, right? Um, Naive, I would say. I love the word naive. I really love being naive, really, because that is just trusting everything. And that kind of trust is something you get it back. If you trust people, they trust you, and that is a foundation for just being safe and secure. And through that is love, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes. So very much love, for the world and the people around us, but also very much the love for ourselves and embracing ourselves. Because I think what's fascinating about the way you understand and experience love is just how linked it is to the truth of our nature. It's a fundamental part of who we are.
Yeah.
And either we're in ownership and acceptance of that, or we're not. And if we're not, then we really are causing ourselves a lot of discomfort. Um, when you're working with people, what really fascinates me about your high sensory ability is how you're able to read and see this in other people, right? So when you're sitting in front of someone, if they're in repression and they're in rejection of love, it's something that you can feel and see straight away, right?
Yeah, I feel that that's in the way, and so I start looking for where their naive child is, or where their good sides, what gives them that sparkle. Because I think that sparkle I sometimes talk about, that spark in their eyes, that is them being in touch with that loving part of themselves. And so I see that really clearly, and that's when I really feel into that, and I really want to hang on to it.
Yeah, yes,
Mm.
to encourage it and to deepen their experience of it.
Yes, but it's not just that. I think because love is very positive in one way, but also it's also very accepting. So I also love tears. So
Hmm.
if people start crying, I know that I've hit the right button, and that okay, we're at something important right here. So let's dig into this and talk about it in a sort of gentle way that you can feel into it and not feel threatened in any way. I like talking about anything.
Very good, very good. So holding a container of complete acceptance so someone can truly explore the whole of themselves to really
Absolutely.
allow
Hmm.
that healing to take place.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, if you really love properly, the love bit um, is all accepting.
Yeah.
You can't be wrong. I mean, you can do wrong things, but you can't be wrong. Um, so it is only positive. It's only light. So anything that comes in the way of that is, of course, is human, which is okay. We have to live with that. But knowing that you actually have that love in you, and nobody can take it away actually because it's in you. If you can hang on to that, know it's there, feel into it, and strengthen that part, then you can master just about anything.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yes, yes. And how encouraging to know that all of us have that part within us. It might be it might be hidden a bit, or we might be repressing it a bit, but it's there, and it's just a process of bringing it back out and to accept it and nurture it again.
Yeah. Mm.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I think it's one of the most powerful processes of healing, I think, to understand that this is available to everyone. And no matter where we are, where we've come from, no matter what trauma we've experienced in our childhood, whatever the circumstances, there is always a pathway through. to our own experience of truth and love again within us.
Yes, but and also I think if you actually dare to look into that trauma, which most of us have, because it's really normal. If you look into the trauma, then you are being vulnerable, and that opens up to that. It opens you up. So it opens up to love. You see it more clearly. You feel it more clearly.
Yes. So by willing to just be in a space where that trauma, it's okay to look at that, it's safe to look at that.
Yeah.
Then the love begins to find its way through the cracks of that, or through the experience of that.
Yeah. So the more I get to talk about people's real issues, what's underneath, the closer we get, the more connected we are. And that to me also is a part of that love thing.
Yes. Yes. Amazing. Yeah. So through that process, we are then reconnecting and realigning with what's real within us, and what's really there. Yeah. Amazing. So in the process of when you're doing this, when you're running this process with a client, tell me a little bit about what you experience, what you're reading, what you're sensing. Are you sort of intuitively piecing things together? Are you seeing more into the love that's in them? Tell me a bit about what you see and what you sense when you're working with someone.
It's a really interesting question, because this is really what I've been wondering about my entire life, I think, because I don't really know when I'm coaching and when I'm not coaching. I think I'm always in that mode when I'm talking about feelings and deep. It is just a conversation, more or less, where we come together in something that's important to us. And then when I listen to the person, of course, when I'm coaching, that other person is the one who's got the focus and not me, hopefully. Yeah. But I do share a bit, because common experiences sometimes help.
Sure.
But listening to people and just being curious about how they tick. And I just notice when we hit on something important. And that just comes up naturally, because a free conversation that feels quite deep tends to go in the right direction.
Yes.
So we get to what we need to talk about today anyway.
Yeah.
And I never know what that is in advance. So it's really hard to prepare, because I do prepare. I mean, I can make this 12-week plan, and we don't follow it.
Right.
But we have a plan in case there's nothing specific on that day. But usually there are things to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what I think is so special about the way you work, and what was so clear as we were working together is how this ability in you works. It is an intuitive response to what's happening in the moment with someone. So your ability to be able to sense and recognize when something deep and important is coming through in the conversation, and then to pursue that and to deepen the awareness around that, which then begins to send your client's awareness into the parts that are perhaps have been starved of love or been rejected in some ways, to begin that process of healing.
Yeah, because very often that's the reason they're there, because there's something that hasn't been looked at, hasn't been taken seriously. They haven't been able to talk about it before. And that is really the only way to loosen up on that issue, whatever it is, that trauma or whatever. They have to talk about it. They have to look at it, and they have to sort of like go back and comfort that child that was hurt.
Yeah.
And you can do that only if you're safe, and you don't dare to go back because you remember it as a time when you weren't safe. Yeah, so that is quite a lovely thing to do, to just be able to to just share that love. It's to spoil that inner child with love that hasn't been done. at that particular moment when they needed it.
Right. Yes. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think, you know, there's a difference between a normal counseling process, which is just about speaking and talking, to what this is in your process of actually of intuitively reading when these key pieces come up, and when there needs to be love in particular areas within a safe container to address these pieces, or, you know, to reframe, give the love now when we needed it when we were younger, we didn't get it when we were younger, and just how healing that is. But what I'm really, you know, pointing at is how you know how to do that intuitively. It's different to a normal counseling process, right?
Absolutely. I've tried counseling and it didn't work.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're on about, and they keep asking questions that have got nothing to do with me. And yeah, I've not had any good experiences with counseling ever. So that's why I've known what counseling was, and that doesn't work. And I've not known why people who come to me have been helped, because I've just been talking to them like, you know, I normally do
Right.
when I get the chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I mean, this is, you know, this is the you know, the opportunity of working with someone who's had the level of experience and the innate ability that you have. I think what's so interesting to note is that throughout your life, because of this relationship that you've had with love, you know, because of this, the way in which you used to process the stories from your grandmother and understanding the constraints that limit us from love, it's how all of that is being utilized when you're coaching, right? So
Mhm.
you're seeing through, you're understanding the deeper nature of love, its deeper purpose, and therefore coaching from that deeper innate awareness that you have.
Yes. You know, it's the opposite of specialization. You know, when you study things, you go to university and specialize in certain things. I've never been able to do that. I never really got to the master's degree even um, because I felt that, you know, that's definitely the wrong way. You know, it's not getting me where I want to go, because I want to be really broad. I need lots of experience in lots of areas. And you know, I never studied psychology, but now that might have been my route, but I wouldn't want to start at the bottom because I've done that. I mean, so I'd really like to, you know, to do a PhD perhaps, but not anything below that.
Yeah.
That sounds boring.
Yes, I understand, and I mean, you know, there of course there are great merits to those types of qualifications,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but also I think it's important to note that there is a natural innate methodology that you already have as a result of your own life path, your own innate area of expertise, and how your sensory awareness runs. So I think what's wonderful about how you run your coaching business is that you're bringing in these core this core knowing within you of how to shift these blocks or traumas within people because of your own knowing and your own experience.
Yes. And I think that's really my wound from, you know, back in childhood, that people didn't really see my core abilities. I was measured in what I was good at, you know, in the subjects, which was most things basically, but that wasn't my real abilities. So nobody ever talked about love, you know, as an ability. That just isn't a school subject. And unfortunately. And so yeah, I think that's been my hurt all along, that isn't a topic, that it doesn't count. And so I see that in other people too. If they have abilities that don't count, it's really important to show them that these abilities are really important. and it hurts them as much as it hurts me, so we just cry a bit together, and then we just realize that, okay, this is actually really important.
Wow. So I think that is one of the most, it is one of the most important pieces, definitely, because it's, it's helping your clients to understand that this experience and that you have been there yourself. And so many of us as high sensory people, or, and not just high sensory people, but other, all people that have particular gifts and abilities that are not recognized in school, and how we then reject them, or we think there's no value to them.
Mm-hmm.
And helping, as you say, through your process, to help someone to recognize that there is great value to their abilities and who they are and what they care about, and through the process of healing that you take them through, it then brings them into contact and starts a relationship with that part of themselves that actually has a great deal of value to bring to the world.
Yes. And we all need to be reminded of that all the time. It isn't enough just to say it, it has to be repeated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we never tire of that kind of.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think it's so difficult to undertake that work by ourselves.
Mm.
We need that reflection from someone else who's experienced and been through that and come out the other side and really claim their ability.
Mm.
So I think as some people listening to this might think, well, yeah, I've really I think that might be my case, but it feels like I've been working that all my life and I haven't got anywhere.
Mm.
It's time then to speak with someone who has the same experience, has a high sensory ability, that knows how to process and facilitate that, to
Yeah.
act to be able to to begin to facilitate and heal these pieces.
Yeah, and there's another thing I'd really like to sort of mention is the creative part of it, the creativity, which is an expression of love to me. It's the language of love, colors, paintings, music, um, anything. All these creative expressions that we're not really taught because we can't measure them. They're really the languages we need to express the whatever we lack the words for, like the word love is really difficult because it covers everything from tiny, it covers so much that it's hard to show what you really mean without explaining it.
Right.
So, but in a painting, in a picture, I also love photography. So, taking photos of people when they look the most fantastic, when they glow. That has always been really healing, both to me and to people I've given the photos to. But anything, there's so many creative paths to talking about love that is equally important.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I think creativity is a hugely important piece here. Yes, because it's the language of love in many ways. It's being able to bring that experience of the world out through the medium of creativity. And I think when that's blocked, or people feel like creativity is not valuable, or perhaps they were told, that artists never make money, or whatever, these terrible things that we get told when we're younger, and how it blocks that self-expression, I think, which is very linked to the process of love.
Absolutely. And I've noticed it when I've had people who've been fairly depressed and we've been talking about how to find joy. And I've just said, well, I sing in a choir, which I've done, forever. It's really, really important to me. And so singing is a good thing. And then they start crying. This is important. Those tears just tell me that this is crucial. Why don't you sing? No, because somebody told me that I'm not supposed to, or it won't give me an income. So, but you need to sing anyway. You have to sing. And, it has made them do singing classes or start singing in the shower or whatever, Um, yeah,
Yeah.
because it really is. It's not just singing, not just painting. It's like really crucial, really, really important. And we're not taught that.
Yeah, I absolutely right. And this is again such an important area. You know, it's because that joy that we experience is it's a fundamental part of who we are. And that's not understood, I don't think, and encouraged through the curriculum of school, through the curriculum of early development. We're not encouraged to really follow our hearts and understand that that experience of joy is so connected with the truth of who we are and the truth of how we're supposed to be in the world, that joyful expression. And so it's not just about singing, you know, because it's a hobby. It's singing because it's actually connecting and aligning us with that source of love that's there for us all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's music, colors, flowers. It's just love. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. I mean, it's, you know, it's wonderful seeing you there sitting in front of your own paintings, and
Yeah.
it's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just it's wonderful to know that what's possible through working with you is that, you know, no matter how run down someone's feeling or how disconnected they feel from themselves, that it's all there. It's all possible to bring these pieces out and to re-engage creativity or whatever joyful endeavor is there. It's all there for the experience, right? For the experiencing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you are what you are. That's what you have, and you have to make the most of it. And, you know, the more joy, the better. The more love, definitely, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you know, so if I was to ask some of the, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but it's important to ask it. Is some of the things that it makes possible through this process of working with you? I mean, it 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 affects so many areas of life in a positive way, right? When we reconnect in this way.
Well, it's everything. And because I really believe and feel that the core of us is love. That's what we are. And I think no, I'm not going to go into that. That's going to be taken really woo, I think. But I think that our basic core is love. And then we have lots of experiences, and you have life, you know, and things happen. And but that's always there, and it's always there to be sort of expanded. And whenever you're hurt, whenever you have issues, you can always expand it and use love to heal.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is there. You just have to find it.
Yeah. And in turn, that then can benefit literally any area of our lives, right? It can, it enhances and helps with relationships, career, purpose. All these things start to fall into place again as
Yeah,
we
everything. Yeah, yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so people have asked me what I specialize in, because a lot of women specialize in women, and some people specialize in children, and some people, you know, and I don't really specialize
Hmm.
because I don't really see. I think we are just people, and we all have children in us. So children is not more difficult than grown-ups, and you know, life is what happens to us and what we do with it. And we are always you know, we are always the same at the core,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to hang on to and look for and heal and work on and make
Yeah.
joyful.
And rediscover and embrace again.
Yeah,
Yeah. Amazing.
and it's easy, you know, it is easy.
Right.
It's definitely very easy.
When we have the right guidance and the right support, I think that's when it becomes easy, which it certainly sounds like people would get through working with you.
Yes, yeah, because I mean, what I generally I just love people. So I'm an extreme extrovert. I think that's got something to do with it, because I always enjoy being with people. So I can really hate them when they're not there. but once they're in front of me or next to me or whatever, we are, we are one. So I do love them, definitely. And so I get into that. I will notice when that spark is, and I will be really thrilled about it. I will be pleased on their behalf.
Right.
And I will feel sorry on their behalf if no, not sorry, I will feel their pain also.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just that when I have that connection, they will automatically notice that I am very happy for them when it works.
Yeah.
And so of course that is lifting in a way.
Absolutely. And again, that is a very important part of how your ability and gift works, because you're able to tune in and feel and align with that universal love that is within us all. So it's, as it builds in someone else, it's building in you, and in that communion, there is this rising of energy, rising of frequency, which helps with the healing, helps with the alignment. I think it's a very important part of how you're functioning, how your ability functions, because of your deeper understanding of what love truly is, and the role it really plays in us.
It's odd. It's the most natural thing in a way. So it's like it's really basic.
Right.
And thinking and believing it, or understanding that the basic thing about you is something that's quite hard, really. So it's
Right.
really taken me quite some time to not appreciate it, but well, accept it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been, the process with working with you. It's been a lot about understanding that it's actually a thing.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Which you knew so clearly as a child, and then reconnecting with that again as an adult really is that the completion of the hero's journey, to embrace what we knew and to be able to then bring it into the world, into service.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you lose it on the way. So it's the same thing. So that's why I can understand. It's because of course, I didn't lose it, but I was in a way told that that isn't a thing.
Right.
Culture does that. You don't talk about love in that way.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And the reconnection and the re-embracing of that is so healing at so many levels. And through that, and through that experience that you've had to go through, that challenge is what makes you so good at facilitating that challenge in others.
Yeah, and no, I know how to appreciate it, because it really is wonderful.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's the best thing in the world, isn't it? You
It is.
can't get anything better than love.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we have such a habit of complicating that within us, but it is fundamentally simple and available to us all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for the time today, and diving into this such important matter. And I know that this is going to resonate with people that are going to be very interested in reaching out to you. And the information and the way to contact Trude is going to be somewhere around this video, underneath at the end, somewhere around you will find the way to contact Trude. And yes, I very much encourage you to reach out to her, and yes, experience this wonderful ability that she has. So thank you so much, Trude, again for your time today, and how wonderful it has been working with you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. And likewise.
My pleasure, my pleasure.